You might be exhausted right now. You pray, you push back, you ask God for intervention, but the resistance doesn't break. That exhaustion usually comes from a misunderstanding of what a spiritual attack actually looks like. Many believers are taught that the enemy's main strategy is to drain your bank account, introduce physical illness, or sabotage your career stability. Those material hardships are real and they are painful, but they are secondary effects. They are the dust kicked up by a much deeper conflict. If you spend all your energy swinging at those material symptoms while leaving the root cause untouched, your prayers will continue to feel empty, and the cycle of defeat will repeat itself. The enemy is entirely uninterested in your physical resources. He is hunting your spiritual authority. Authority is the load-bearing pillar of a believer's life. Once that pillar is compromised, the roof caves in. Your finances, your peace, your family dynamics, they all collapse because the structure holding them up has been removed. Here is the catch. Satan cannot take that authority from you by force. He has no legal mechanism to simply walk in and confiscate it. Since direct theft is impossible, his entire operational playbook relies on a sleight of hand trick. He has to construct a scenario where you surrender your authority to him voluntarily. To see how this extraction works, we have to examine the first recorded spiritual attack in human history, the Garden of Eden. Look closely at the text. Satan did not burn down the garden. He did not attack Adam's physical possessions, and he didn't even steal the fruit himself. Instead, he aimed entirely at Adam's obedience. This conceptual diagram maps out a biblical principle called the spiritual law of transfer. Romans explains that whoever you choose to obey is who you ultimately become subject to. The action of obedience serves as the mechanism that moves authority from one subject to another. When Adam listened to the serpent, he executed a legal transfer, handing over the dominion of his life to the enemy. That indirect method of extraction is the exact same playbook used against modern believers today. It happens through tiny, everyday mechanisms: a small moral compromise at work, spiritual passivity in your home, ignoring a clear prompting from God, or walking in willful disobedience. The terrifying reality is that a person can be a fully saved Christian guaranteed a place in heaven, while walking around on earth with completely non-functional authority. This explains the frustration of shouting spiritual commands. You can say, "I bind this," or "I rebuke that" all day long, but if your daily life is out of alignment, those words have no backing. When those prayers fail to produce results, it is not God ignoring you. It is because authority without spiritual substance registers as nothing more than background noise in the spirit realm. Even demons in the book of Acts replied to an exorcism by saying, "Jesus I know, and Paul I know, but who are you?" True spiritual authority is a measurable weight. The spirit realm either recognizes that weight or ignores it, entirely based on your life's alignment with God. Think about how a police officer operates. That role provides a perfect analogy for how spiritual laws are actually enforced. The officer wears a badge. That badge represents their legal right to act on behalf of the government. For a believer, the name of Jesus is your badge. This matrix diagram displays how that badge interacts with reality. You have authority, the legal right, on one axis. On the other axis, you have power, the officer's weapon and training, or your ability to enforce that badge through a lifestyle of absolute obedience. True spiritual effectiveness only occurs right here, in the overlap of the two. Heaven freely provides the badge and offers the training, but you are the one who must actively stand and enforce the law. Now the enemy's endgame becomes obvious. If he can continually distract you into compromise, he weakens your authority. Your prayers lose their weight, and your spiritual resistance becomes entirely optional. Look at your own battles right now. Are you exhausting yourself trying to protect your money and your comfort, or are you actively protecting your authority? Protecting your resources dictates your standard of living. Protecting your authority dictates who controls your life. Stop swinging at the decoy symptoms. Bring your daily actions into alignment to back up the name of Jesus and reclaim the true source of your spiritual power.